Welcome to Crime on the Brain. I'm going to start today by saying, if you suspect a child is being abused or you are being abused, please call 1-800-422-4453. All calls are confidential. Help is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can also go to www.childhelp.org. If you see or hear something, please do something by saying something. You could save a life. Please don't wait until it's too late. When I was doing some research on a missing person, I kept seeing articles on the case I'm talking about today. I'd been waiting to hear back from one of the missing person's family members, so I decided I'd see what those articles were about. I clicked on one, and I read all the information. It didn't tell a whole lot, so I clicked on a different one. I read that one, and I still wasn't satisfied. It just didn't resonate. I'd read one more after that, but they were all the same. I watched a couple of the news broadcasts, hoping to learn more, and before I knew it, I'd started writing stuff down and looking stuff up. I wasn't learning anything from reading the articles or watching news coverage. I was, however, absolutely hooked on the fact that they'd left out so many details. Details that would help possibly make more sense of what had actually happened, and maybe why it all happened to begin with. I'm sure there's gonna be a part 2, maybe even a part 3. You'll see what I mean when you get to the end. So a couple of the news broadcasters or journalists pronounced her name as Jami. I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Jamie. Her middle name is spelled Nykol. I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Nicole. So I will be referring to her as Jami Nicole Hodges. If I'm the one saying it wrong, I'm so sorry. Carlos, how do you say it?
Jami Nicole Hodges.
Okay, I'm still saying Jami Nicole. I'm going to start from where I think these 7 lives were turned into a horrible tragedy. On Tuesday, November 9th, 2021, 30-year-old Jami Nicole Hodges transferred guardianship of all 4 of her children to her mother, 52-year-old Virginia Lujan. This made Virginia legally responsible for the care of 4 young children whose own mother was no longer able to manage their affairs. In 2021, Jami had lost custody due to reports of domestic violence, years of drug addiction, and had been unable to properly care for the children for quite some time. Shortly after this, in 2022, Jami gave birth to her 5th child, a baby girl. Jami struggled to put her life back in order, but the new baby brought new hope and a second chance. When the baby had just turned 2, the trailer that they had been staying at sustained structural damage, and they were forced to move out. Sometime between August of 2024 and January 2025, Jami and her now 2-year-old daughter had to move into her mother Virginia's home at 4545 South Mill Avenue in Tempe, Arizona, where her 4 children had been staying for the past 4 years and 2 months. Virginia rented a 1,536 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath townhouse, or what some people like to call a condominium. It was 2 stories with 2 covered and 1 uncovered parking spots in the back. There's a small outbuilding 14 feet long by 8 feet wide that's used for storage. Located in front of the parking spots, Jami and her 2-year-old daughter slept in the living room on the main floor. Virginia had her own bedroom on the 2nd floor, and the children slept in the remaining 2 bedrooms. In the home were the 4 children. For privacy reasons, I will not be using their names or age, unless it's already been used in the media. A 15-year-old boy, a 13-year-old girl, Melony Rose Granados, a younger boy, an even younger girl. This case involves filicide, that is a term used for parents, relatives, or household members whose actions, or inactions, lead up to, or cause the immediate death of a child. Legally, these cases are categorized as murder, manslaughter, or homicide. On the morning of Tuesday, January 21st, 2025, Jami returned to the townhome from a dentist appointment between 9 and 11 a.m. She noticed that her daughter, Melony, in her own words, was acting off, and her eyes looked droopy. Jami said that Melony was just acting weird. Then she noticed a large rash or discoloration under Melony's armpits and on the back of her legs. When she asked her mother about it, Virginia said, "Melony must have rolled off the bed or out of her crib last night." Jami told her mom to call for medical assistance, but her mom was worried she would get in trouble because of the way Melony looked. Neither of them called for medical assistance or took Melony to the hospital or even to a doctor. Later that day, Virginia told Jami that Melony had fallen asleep, so it was okay for her to go to the store. Just Jami Hodges and her 15-year-old son left her mother's house around 5:45 p.m. Jami left the 2-year-old and the other 3 children with Virginia, their grandmother. Jami and her 15-year-old had gone to the LA Fitness Gym, 3 minutes away on Southern Avenue, and then to the Fry's grocery store across from the gym on Mill Avenue, 3 minutes away from Virginia's house. Around 8:30 p.m., Jami Hodges' son was on the phone with Virginia, and she told him that they needed to come home, and quickly hung up. Confused, Jami called her mother back to see what was going on, and why they needed to go home. Virginia told Jami that she had tried to feed Melony, and now Melony was gargling or gasping. When Jami and her son arrived back at Virginia's home, Jami and her 15-year-old went upstairs to see Melony. She was lying on her grandmother's bed with Virginia lying over top of her. Virginia told her 15-year-old grandson to take Melony downstairs. When Virginia and Jami got down the stairs, Virginia hugged her 3 other grandchildren, trying to comfort them, and said reassuringly, "I wouldn't hurt you." Virginia had delayed calling 911 to clean Melony up. Melony's condition had worsened to not breathing. Tempe Police and Fire Medical Rescue responded to the 911 call from Virginia Lujan that came in around 9 p.m. She told the dispatcher that her granddaughter was unresponsive. When officers got to the home, they found the girl lying on the living room floor. Virginia Lujan told the first responders that Melony had fallen a few days prior and had hit her head on the wall. A police sergeant at the scene saw that the girl was covered in bruises and sores on various parts of her body. The bruises were in different stages of healing. Some were bluish-purple, some black and red, while others were a yellow-green color. This immediately set off red flags. Melony was taken to the Cardone Children's Medical Center, Pediatric ICU, after suffering from cardiac arrest while being taken to the hospital. Virginia Lujan, Jami Hodges, and the 4 children were driven in a van to the hospital by CARE's 7 victim services. After 6 hours of the hospital staff attempting life-saving measures, Melony Rose Granados was pronounced deceased in room 22 by Dr. Kelly Teves at 2:54 a.m. on Wednesday, January 22, 2025. Virginia Lujan was interviewed at the hospital, and she said that Melony had fallen in the middle of the night on Sunday, January 19, 2025, and that she had walked her back to her bedroom. Virginia noticed that Melony had hit her head on the wall and damaged the drywall after falling down the stairs from the second-floor landing. Virginia said Melony was fine all day on Monday, January 20, 2025, and that she did notice the bruises on Melony's body on that same day. Virginia said Melony started to act differently on Tuesday, January 21, 2025. She described Melony as being drowsy and slow. She said she also noticed the blood coming out of her ear. Virginia Lujan did not seek medical attention because she thought Melony would be all right. When Virginia called 911, she commented that she had wanted to clean Melony up, so she didn't look so bad. Jami Nicole Hodges told officials that after she moved in, she had been avoiding Melony whenever possible, claiming that she felt incapable of providing the care that her daughter needed. Melony was diagnosed at a young age with myoclonic atonic epilepsy. As a result, was also intellectually disabled. Melony is a 13-year-old girl with limited verbal ability and the cognitive capacity of a 3 to 5-year-old. In her interview, Jami Hodges said that she didn't know about the fall. Little else is being said about her, assuming she is innocent until proven guilty. All four of Jami's remaining children were immediately put into DCS custody and were evaluated. They are currently undergoing counseling and have already received medical treatment due to the neglect. For their privacy, and out of respect, I won't say where they currently are. With all the extenuating circumstances and severity of Melony's injuries, the Criminal Investigations Bureau was notified. Photos were taken at the hospital that show large bruises all over her body, including, but not limited to her inner left knee, her inner right knee, her outer right and left ankles, her outer right calf, her right and left hips, her buttocks, and upper abdomen. It was also noted that there was a large rash, like sores in both armpits, and behind both her knees. Her face and head were swollen, and there was dried blood inside her right ear. Detectives executed a search warrant of Virginia's home. Once inside, it was described as being disorderly, filthy, trash littering the floors, insects in various parts of the home, and a strong odor of urine and feces. The police found a large hole in the drywall with a clump of hair still attached. In one of the upstairs bedrooms belonging to the children, the investigators discovered what appeared to be a bed frame, similar to a bunk bed, but there was no bed or mattress on the bottom. Instead, the tall bed frame type structure created a space underneath the top. There was a large rail that enclosed the longer side and another rail with plastic baby gates attached to it. These items, together, were attached to the frame to function as walls for the space underneath the top. Jami referred to this area as a cage. Every one of these components were zip-tied together with multicolored plastic zip ties. This was where Melony was kept, with trash, rotted food, diapers, human fecal matter, and urine on the floor. Melony wore diapers which she would change herself when nobody else would, while she was in there. Her family admitted keeping Melony in the cage, which they knew was extremely dirty. They claimed Melony was put in there in order to control her, to keep her from getting into things, or when they just didn't want to deal with her. None of the four children were enrolled in school at the time of this incident. It is unclear if any of them had ever attended school over the 4 years and 2 months that they all lived there. In 2021, 3 of the 4 children were old enough to attend school. There's 2 security cameras outside of the upstairs bedroom windows on the ledge. One pointed at the front entrance of the home, the other pointing to the back. We won't know if they actively recorded anything, or if there were more cameras inside the townhome until the trial. On Thursday, January 23, 2025, Virginia Lujan, age 55, born March of 1969, made her initial appearance. She was booked and was accused of child abuse, as defined in ARS 13-3623-A1. A judge set a secured appearance cash bond for her at $500,000, at which Virginia remarked, "Oh my God." On Wednesday, January 29th, a status conference was held to determine the strength of the case. On Friday, January 31st, the preliminary hearing took place. Virginia Lujan was indicted by the Maricopa County Attorney's Office with 2 counts of child abuse from 2021 to 2025. This is emotional abuse, criminal neglect, and with intention, that makes it a Class 4 felony. 1 count is for Melony, and the other count is for her younger brother. 2 counts of tampering with physical evidence, one on January 21, 2025 for the hole in the wall. The other one on January 21, 2025 is for altering Melony's appearance. Both are a Class 6 felony. 1 count of tampering with a witness. On January 21, 2025, Virginia attempted to have her 15-year-old grandson either leave out events that had happened or lie. This is a Class 6 felony. 3 counts of contributing to the dependency or delinquency of a minor from 2021 to 2025. This is degrading or injuring the morals health, or welfare of a minor. 1 count is for the 15-year-old grandson. 1 count is for Melony's younger brother. 1 count for Melony's younger sister, not the 2-year-old. These are all individually a Class 1 misdemeanor. So far, the court records haven't mentioned the 2-year-old female, even though there were several instances when Jami left her under the supervision of her mother, Virginia Lujan. We do know that she was taken into DCS custody and was evaluated. Friday, February 7, 2025, was the original arraignment hearing. On Thursday, March 20, 2025, the state filed a motion for extension of time to send the case to the grand jury. On Monday, March 24th, we had the initial pretrial conference. Next month, on Wednesday, April 30th, 2025, the comprehensive pretrial conference is scheduled to start 3 months and 2 weeks after Melony passed away. And from there, the calendar reads: May 8, 2025, complex capital case. May 29, 2025, pretrial conference. June 5, 2025, trial. September 29, 2025, pretrial conference. October 6, 2025, trial. Jami Hodges, born on September 10, 1991, was also booked and also accused of child abuse, but she was released. If there is enough evidence, more charges will be filed against her, and she will be rearrested and incarcerated. Just so there's no confusion, I'm going to do a separate video about her. Melony's biological father has enough problems going on, so I won't be including anything about him. He is irrelevant to this case and has no involvement. This case is ongoing and still actively being investigated. More charges are pending as more evidence is being gathered. Tempe Police are asking that if you have any information regarding this case, to contact them at 480-350-4311. Prosecutors and the attorneys are building a solid case against the individual or individuals responsible for Melony's death. Melony's cause of death is believed to be blunt force trauma to the head. The actual autopsy will provide more details when it's released. We will be posting shortened versions of each trial as more detailed information becomes available. If anyone is aware of a GoFundMe page for Melony, please let me know in the comments. Stay tuned for part 2 and 3 by subscribing. As always, we thank you for watching.